is classification? Well, classification is the organisation of all living things into groups, all based on similar characteristics. There are 5 groups, and those groups are known as animals, plants, fungi, prototysts, and prokaryotes. Animals are heterotrophic feeders. They find their own food. They're multicellular organisms but do not have cell walls or chlorophyll. Plants. Autotrophic feeders, they make their own food through photosynthesis. They have rigid cell walls that help to support their cells, also multicellular like animals. Fungi, they're saprophytes. They feed off dead organisms. They're still multicellular with a cell wall, however fungi do not have chlorophyll. Prototysts and prokaryotes are the most simplest. Prototysts are start. They're unicellular organisms with a nucleus, for example, algae. And prokaryotes are unicellular organisms with no nucleus, for example, bacteria. Now, if you're a visual learner and you like large colourful posters, I suggest printing this screen off now and having it somewhere you'd remember it. Next, all of these kingdoms, which is a scientific word for the groups, are subdivided into even smaller groups with similar characteristics. The order of classification is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and then finally the species itself. Move on to vertebrates versus invertebrates. Vertebrates are organisms with an internal rod-like backbone, whereas invertebrates do not have this. Vertebrates are divided into 5 groups called classes. The 5 classes are mammals, birds, fish, amphibians, and reptiles. They're categorised based on 3 things. Those 3 things are as follows: how they absorb oxygen, how they reproduce, how they regulate their internal body temperature. Oxygen start. Whether they get their oxygen through their lungs, like animals and birds, gills, like fish, or skin, like amphibians or reptiles. They're also classified on how they reproduce, for example, if they reproduce through external fertilisation or internal fertilisation. Also, whether they're viviparous, give birth to live young, or oviparous, which means they lay eggs. Finally, how they regulate their internal body temperature. If the organisms are homeotherms, they manually keep their temperature at steady level homeostasis, or poikilotherms, meaning they're cold-blooded as their temperature matches their external environment. Next, we have the disadvantages to classification. There are 3 main points to focus on here. They are hybridisation, variation within a species, and the development of ring species. Starting with hybridisation, a male from one species and a female from another reproduce, they create what is known as a hybrid. These hybrid species can be hard to classify. Variation within a species, that means members of the same species that are still different. For example, breeds of dogs look very different, however still the same species. Biologists can find these species hard to classify. The development of ring species. Well, a ring species is a group of related populations that live in neighbouring areas. Populations that live next to each other can interbreed to produce fertile offspring. However, populations that live further apart cannot. It's difficult to tell the populations of different species. And the binomial system. Binomial system is a simple way of giving every single organism a 2-part Latin name. To help explain this, we're going to use the term Homo sapiens, which means a binomial name for humans. First, we split it into its 2 parts, Homo and sapiens. Starting with Homo. Homo refers to the genus of the organism. This part always has a capital letter. And sapien next. Sapien refers to the species of the organism. This part does not have a capital letter. In the exam, you may be given a binomial name and has to identify the genus or the species. Thank you for watching this My GCSE revision video. Please like and subscribe and expect a new video up soon.